Okay, to introduce yourselves, it's Gas. I talk on camera all the time and I'm never nervous. And believe it or not, actually, I have trembles in my stomach here at the moment. I'm Jeanette, this is Deirdre. We're sisters, we're best friends, we're partners, and we kill each other sometimes as well. So to tell you a little bit about our business, just go back to the other one there for a second, sorry. Read that sentence. How our business went global as a result of social media. That's the topic tonight, or today. And after listening to all the amazing trainers and educators here today, we were talking about it at lunchtime, and our social media success is pure accidental because we had no strategy. We have no monthly planner or 3-monthly planner. We just go on there, and within 5 minutes, Deirdre might say, do you know what, we'll go live. And when we go live, we have 5 cameras set up on a stand. My dad has made us a stand. And we go live at the same time on YouTube, on LinkedIn, no, sorry, not LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, etc. And sometimes we get amazing interaction. Like yesterday we went live, no warning, no emails, nothing telling anybody we're going to go live. We just literally, yeah, let's go live, let's demonstrate. And you know what, the likes, the comments and the interaction and the reach and the impressions that video got yesterday was unbelievable. So it is pure accidental. So a lot of what we're going to tell you today, maybe don't take our advice. Because as I said, there is no great plan. Okay, Case Flower School. We started back in 1987, so 37 years ago. And originally it was myself and my mum. Deirdre's the younger sister, by the way. I'm the smallest one. And myself and my mum, we had a flower shop in Rialto. Rialto's quite a tiny place. And again, it was just a small flower shop. And we knew it was during a recession in 1987. I'm being honest, like, you know what I mean, the money, the flow of money was quite slow. And we said, like, we need to do something else. And there was a niche in the market for floristry training because there was absolutely nowhere in Ireland that you could train to be a florist. And floristry was a closed business. The only people that were florists were people who, their mammy was a florist or their auntie was a florist. And none of the flower shops would train or teach people outside the trade. So we decided to start up Case School of Floristry, and that's our original logo that's on the screen, and that's a photograph of myself and my mum back in 1987, and our uniforms at the time, like, you know what I mean, again, it's all quite old-fashioned. But we started the school, and originally it was just night classes, and they were really successful. And then we started weekend courses, and we had people coming up from the country. And then we eventually said, do you know what, if we start kind of teaching more commercial, professional programs, professional training, again, that's what really gave us that lift. I have to say, the flower shops around Ireland resented us. They really did. Like, they more or less ignored us. They hated what we were doing. They hated that we were teaching people outside the trade. But again, we just worked extra hard. Now, I'm talking back in 1987. We advertised in the Golden Pages. Most of you mightn't even remember the Golden Pages. And the Evening Herald, the ads, you know, small ads, and the Irish Independent or the Sunday Independent. And again, around the country, I remember like the Cork Examiner, you know, like again, the Wexford People. We used to advertise in all these like little country newspapers, and there was no social media at that time. All our classes were classroom based. And I have to say, like, what you see with us is what you get. Like, there is no act. And we got on great with the students. And like when the students came to the school, like the first thing was like, you know, would you like a cup of tea? And we always had penguin bars. Penguin bars and wagon wheels, again, if anybody remembers wagon wheels. They were always our signature snack when they came. And when I used to meet people years ago, they used to say to us, do you still give them the penguin bar? Do you still give them the wagon wheel? Because most people would say, I haven't had one of them in years. But the school was really successful. We were working hard, but I have to say, we were getting a great wage out of it. You've taken over now, so we've done this plan, and every time we do it, like we can't remember who's doing what. So pass it over to Deirdre there.
So obviously, I have my God, okay, keep that. So obviously, when the Evening Herald and the Yellow Pages and all of those, we said, okay, social media came on board, and we joined Facebook. Actually, it was my mum who set up the first Facebook page. We set up Instagram. And then one night we were there and this message went out on Twitter and it's like, any other solo entrepreneurs, business women out there, you know, are you alone? Do you need support? Do you need help? And we're like, oh, that's a bit strange, you know. So we got involved with this and lo and behold, it was your one down there, Samantha Kelly, and she just created this community. And it was through that community we started to learn a little bit about using social media. You know, there was no live or anything back then, but Samantha would have ran many events, and one particular event, and we always said all our ideas on our way home from the event is when it happened. And we were down in Galway at an event in Galway, and the girl's name was Anya, and she had talked about blogging. And we were like, God, yeah, imagine, maybe we could do that. We've loads of things we could write about. We know loads of things we could talk about. So lo and behold, we went home, I started to blog. Anya actually came out to school and she sort of went through our website and helped us out with that. We learned so much from these networking events. I'm just so glad they're back. I really am so glad that they're back, and I hope we're going to see more of them and bigger. In 2015, we trended on Twitter. So we were part of it was the Wednesday night at 9 o'clock, was it? The Irish Biz Party was the tweet, or was the hashtag, and we every week somebody got an opportunity to be the Star Biz, I think it was called. And that night we trended, and we actually trended until 11 o'clock the next day, and we were knocked off by Bressie.
Not many people can say they were knocked off by Bressie.
Bressie had just launched a new song, and we were knocked off the #1 spot by Bressie. But yeah, through all that networking, we learned an awful lot about social media, and we really implemented it within the business. We did, as I said, we didn't go live, we didn't do videos. It was mostly photographs back then. Is really what we did. In 2015, I got sick. Pulled a sickie, done the whole works, and I ended up being sort of out of work sort of 6 months, 7 months or so. So my mother, who had retired, came back out of retirement and said she will step back in, and she helped because people had paid deposits for courses. The courses were already there, people knew that they were going to be doing the course, and it was like either she steps in or we have to give everyone their money back. So she did. She came back out of retirement. She reckons she's the only person who retired twice. So when I got better and I finished all treatment and stuff like that, we decided we needed to reignite our social media. We needed to get things back out there. So in 2018 we launched a scholarship program, and we says, right, we'd no budget, we'd no money, we had nothing. A friend of ours worked in PR, and she says, what about hitting some of the small influencers? So we went for the minute influencers. Some of you may recognise some of the influencers there. James Treese is now presenter on the television, and Cherry Sue, one of the big influencers within the cosmetic industry. But back then, they were nobodies. They came to our school. We fed them with gym. They all tweeted out and texted out and done all of that on social media and launched the scholarship program. It was our first time to do that. And Avril's friend, Heather, won the scholarship. We didn't know. We had met Heather, and we had actually done our hens party, but we didn't pick the prize or pick the winners. So Heather won the scholarship. She was still sort of working in the social care industry at the time, and she was like, no, I'm definitely going to do it. I'm definitely going to do it. 2 years ago this week, Heather set up her own business, and she is now an award-winning florist. She is out the door doing work. She's the most amazing person you'll ever meet. But she is just an example of the women that we have put into business. Mostly women, actually there's a few men, there's a few up for awards this week. But of the people that we have put into business. So our business is to train in floristry, but it's to train in the business of it, either to work as a florist or to set up your own business. So everything was going back hunky-dory, and lo and behold,
2020, like everybody else, the other big C came along, COVID. And we had courses booked in for the Monday. And if you remember Friday the 13th, Leo Varadkar came on the telly and said, everybody's to go home from school. And we came under schools, and everyone was to close down for 3 weeks. And I had a course starting on the Monday. So I contacted all the students, and I postponed them all for the following month. And sure, 3 weeks later, Leo came on and said, you're to stay at home again. Now, like yourselves, we were at home as well, making the banana bread, banging on the weight, you know, that way, and doing absolutely nothing. Now, we're sisters, and Deirdre, we're on to each other every day, and Deirdre was saying, like, you know, I mean, we have to do something, we have to keep the social media going. So she said, like, you mightn't believe it, but I found it awful hard to go live myself. If Deirdre held 20 cameras in front of me, I had absolutely no problem. But to actually take the camera up on my own, and I was talking to one of the girls at lunchtime, now I have no problem, but at that time I found it really hard. And she said to me, you just have to do it, you know what I mean? Because I was always the one in front of the camera, she was always behind. So you can see from one of the photographs there, I set up in my kitchen. Now, because of lockdown, there was no flower deliveries coming into Ireland either. This was all in the very early days. So I had flowers and foliage from my own garden. I had my 20-year-old son video me, you know, that way, and I went live. And I'm not sure if you can see the stats on it, but that was the very first live that we did, like, from the house. And it just went, you know what I mean, it just went mad, it did. And the amount of comments, and I suppose because everybody was like us, they were sitting at home making banana bread. You know, they had nothing else to do. So we decided, everyone's talking about consistency, so we started to do the 11 o'clock lives. I mean, I've done it from the sitting room, done it from the kitchen, wherever it might be. And we'd twice a week, like at 11 o'clock, like we religiously went live. And if we didn't, if something happened or we were late, we found them, we were getting emails or messages, are you okay, girls? Have you got COVID? What happened? And we started to make friends through social media. And one thing I suppose that we find is very successful for us, and I know all day everybody's saying social media is about being sociable. If you notice any of our comments, we respond to every one of them. Yesterday there was 300 comments. I haven't got through them all, do you know that way? But every one of them I say, hi Mary, thanks Mary. And I have this kind of tagline, again, to get people interacting with, because again, we decide spur of the minute to go live. So we turn on the camera and normally say, am I live? Because again, we're waiting on TikTok is slower, or you know, YouTube is a bit slower than Facebook. So till all the cameras are going live. I personally hate, you know, when people go live and they say, I'm going to wait till I get more people. What's wrong with me that's watching here? I hate when people do that. So I just go straight into it. So first of all, I always say, again, if you've watched me, is who's watching and where are you watching in from? And then straight away you see, hi, it's Mary, South Africa, it's Mary in Spain, it's Mary in Donegal, it's Mary in Florida, they're all Marys. And they're all coming in. And then the next thing I say, and what's the weather like? And I give them the forecast in Dublin, it's always pissing rain. And if it is rain, I normally say the weather is shite. And then it starts coming, it's pretty shite, it's really shite, it's really shite. And this goes on. Some of them put little hashtags, you know, they might actually spell out the word shite. But immediately the interaction that I'm getting. Then we start our demonstration. So instead of me sitting there or standing there for a few minutes waiting on people to come, and then I kind of say, and if you know anyone else that loves flowers, you tag them there. And if you're in any flower arranging clubs or flower clubs, why don't you share this video? And again, we depend on you know what I mean, to get these videos out there. So again, in a real nice way, like our shares are huge, you know what I mean? And again, if you go into yesterday's, you'll see it's probably on 200 shares. Because again, you know what I mean, everybody, most of them, not everybody, but most people would actually share. So the live classes, they were really, really successful.
There was no money coming from the live classes.
So I'll come back to you, will I?
Yeah, so there was no money coming from the live classes, and they were so successful, and people wanted to copy what we were doing. And for many years, and it was back from another event we were with Sam, and it was Joanna Sweeney talked about online training. She's like, you need to do online. And of course, this one is a creature of habit. No, you cannot teach, and particularly hand-tied bouquets. The bouquets that the girls gave out earlier on. So they're a hand, and Jeanette's like, no, you couldn't teach that online, you couldn't teach that. So I was like, we can sit here and our business is going down to Swanee, or let's go back to work. Let's go back into the class. So Jeanette lives in Rialto, so she had 2 meters to walk across the road to work. I was 5.6 kilometers, and the radius was 5. Unless you were going to mind somebody. So in the back of the car, I packed a bag with towels, shampoo, soap, talc, all of these things, had them on the seat of the car, and every morning on the way down through Sundrive, I was stopped by the guards, and I said, I'm going down to wash my mother. She lived in Rialto, my dad was there, but like, that was fine. Off we went, and we went back into the school. So our school, we share a building with a hairdressers and with a coffee shop, which were all closed. We were sisters, so we're like, okay, let's go back in. And we had to do a few things. I had to learn how to video and how to edit. I had done a long time ago, again with Sam, had connected me to Johnny Byrne, and I had done a video course with him. So I says, okay, well I have a bit of an idea. We obviously had to work out the logistics of flowers, because when they came to us, we got the flowers delivered. So now we needed to get flowers delivered all over Ireland. So we got onto our Dutch suppliers, and they says, yeah, we can probably do this and whatever. So never been done before, but we said right, and we worked it with them, we got them. Our school, which was a flower school, now became like a little factory because we needed to pack kits. So when the students did eventually sign up to the courses, they would get exactly what we were working with. So the videos that they were watching, they had the exact same stuff that we were doing. As Jeanette says, when people came to the school, they got a cup of tea, they got a welcome, and they got a penguin bar. So in all the kids at the very beginning, for the first year, they got a tea bag and a penguin bar. And on their first live class with us, it was like, okay, you can have your cup of tea and you can eat your penguin bar. And that all even, like, oh, the kids just have to run the penguin bar out of the box. But yeah,
So I suppose, again, social media was our way of advertising, but we had to try and convince these students that were originally booked onto a classroom-based course that now it's going to be an online course. Personally, myself, right, I feel the reaction to an online course, people feel you pay your money and then they flick you off, you know what I mean? They couldn't care less about you after that. Now that was my impression of online training, and we didn't want that. As I said, we wanted that still personality, you know what I mean, and we wanted it to be different. And obviously with Floristry, it is a creative, you know, that way, so you're trying to see what people were doing. So we decided that we were going to set up a virtual interactive classroom, but not to actually hold the classes. Basically, it was a private Facebook group. So all the students that were booked onto a particular module, so 4 modules altogether, they all became members of the Bloom Room. So we just talked the name Bloom Room, sounded gorgeous. We've hundreds of Bloom Rooms at this stage, because every individual program has its own Bloom Room. So it meant then that they could interact with each other, and every morning at 9 o'clock I normally would go live. Now, not live to do a class, it was more live to have the chats with them, or as I like to say, to give them a kick in the arse. So there was no way that they were going to fall off, or get bored, or lose interest in the course. So it was a bit like, you know what I mean, okay, who's watching again? Comment underneath where you're watching in from. And Mary, how are you getting on? Has anyone any questions? Is there something that you'd like me to go back over? Or again, if there was something maybe to do with the flower delivery, it's coming on Thursday night instead of Friday night, or whatever it might be. So we have these live chats with them every morning, Monday to Friday. The second thing that we have is we have one-to-one interaction with them on WhatsApp. And if anybody's been sitting beside me down there, they're probably saying, that one's an ignorant cow, she has her nose stuck in the phone all day. But I've actually been interacting with my students that are on my Module 1 at the moment. So they're watching pre-recorded classes that we have hosted on a Thinkific site. They can watch them classes 24/7, rewind them and watch them as often as they wish. They get the exact same flowers and materials sent out to them, so it's a bit like Ready, Steady, Cook. So when they go to make their arrangement, you know what I mean, it's step 1, and what they do then is between 9 and half 3 in the daytime and 7 o'clock in the evening time, because again, I was sitting with a few of you last night and I had to keep getting up, and they're probably saying, where's your one on her phone again? I was talking to my students. And when we went online, this is where we started to get students from the UK, and we're saying, oh my God, this is amazing. Now probably 40% of our students is from the UK. But then we started to get students from South Africa, from all parts of America, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and all parts of Europe. So then I had to make sure that I went on in the evening time to do the WhatsApp, you know, that way, for again, to give everybody this individual attention. And I always say with the WhatsApp, what happens in the WhatsApp stays in the WhatsApp. So sometimes people will, like every other class, make balls of it, you know, that way, and again, I can correct them, but they're not there embarrassed, you know, that way, saying, oh God, everybody else is looking at me. So they take a photograph of step 1, they send it on to me, and I'm literally back to them straight away. And again, they go on to step 2 and so on. Some of them feel that they actually get more attention with the online training than they would if they were actually in a classroom. And plus then they can be a little bit more adventurous, because they're not saying, oh God, well your one is flying here beside me and I look like a thick plank. And again, somebody said today, no such thing as a silly question. I normally say no such thing as a stupid question. Unless you know the answer already, well then it's classed as a stupid question.
And again, as Jeanette says, when we were trying to get people to move from, they'd already paid their deposit for the classroom based, and we needed to get them onto the online. So we were so blessed. We would have had dealings with SkillNet at that stage. They would have sponsored some of our classroom based courses. So we got onto the SkillNet that we had been dealing with, and we were like, look at, you know, we have this online course. There has to be live training. There is live training. We're with them live every morning. We're one-to-one with them. And they says, okay, they would sponsor the courses by 50%, right? Because at that stage, there was no courses going. So SkillNet paid 50% of the cost of the course. So anyone that was booked on was getting it for half price. So that was a real game changer for us for getting people on. If you're looking to do training and you're looking to learn more, get in contact with Therese and SkillNets. They can help you out so much. You have no idea. Join her network. We deal with the SkillNets all over the country. Therese is great. In fairness, she's probably one of the best. But they really do. They are really there to support people. There's free courses going all the time as well, so do get in contact with that. So look, we're not experts when it comes to social media. We were laughing last night, I don't know who we were talking about email campaigns, and I said, yeah, I have this list, I have probably 5,000 or 6,000 people on an email list, but I don't really send them anything. And I'm looking after who was saying it there earlier on, I'm like, okay, I think I need to start sending a few emails out. Our YouTube, we knew the stats because Anita told us
we didn't know we had 17,000 followers on YouTube. We didn't know all them millions of views that we had. You know what I mean? Because she said something about views, and I said, oh, I haven't a clue how many views. Oh, she says, I know. And she was able to rhyme it all off. She was even able to tell us what year we opened our YouTube. And when I'll come to later on where we went to America there a few weeks ago, but when we were in America, all the Americans said to us, I follow you on YouTube. And I wouldn't have thought that the YouTube would have a big following. I always thought Facebook and Instagram. But we've kind of like realised recently, you know what I mean, that definitely, and even there this morning, the live class that I did yesterday went out on YouTube, and I had a message this morning from a florist in America saying, oh my God, the way how you taught how to do that door read. I'm a florist and I've never seen anybody doing it that way. Now, it wasn't that spectacular, but she thought it was an absolutely brilliant way of doing it. So YouTube obviously does work, but as I said, we are the accidental success of social media.
So these are our top tips. We're not experts, so we might be contradicting what some of the other people have said. So first of all, go live, right? Please give it a go. If you have to get somebody else to hold the camera or do whatever, or even if you go live and you don't show your face, live is just phenomenal what it can make a difference for your business. Post behind the scenes. We're florists, and to be honest, now we don't have a lot of flowers in our business because obviously the students get the flowers. But I could post a photograph of Jeanette after making, which I did yesterday, a beautiful Christmas wreath, blah, blah, blah. It looks absolutely gorgeous. If I post a photograph of the dirty floor, it will get more interaction. Or I post a photograph of maybe her washing a bucket, it would actually get more interaction than the flowers. So don't be afraid to show what's going on. And the lads were here decorating, they were showing about the building of the shop. When we had the massive table in the school, and the school was, as I said, 30 odd years before we went online with COVID, we videoed pulling the table out, and all the people that said, oh, I sat on that table and I sat on this, us ripping the table out got so much interaction. So don't be afraid to post behind the scenes. Ask your customers and clients to post about you. And again, the lads talked about this. Okay, we have a bit of a trick and we do this. So the second week into our students' program is when their flowers arrive. They've watched all their videos. 10 days in, their flowers arrive. They are ecstatic. They are so delighted. It's like Christmas. And these boxes of flowers are arriving to them to do their work. That week, within 2 or 3 days, I post up, please do a Google review. Please do a Trustpilot review, because they're so happy. We have 5 stars across the board on all of those. Towards the end of the course then, they want to learn a little bit more. So we have a bonus program. And if they do a 1-minute video, they get the bonus program. And I say to them, we're training you to start doing live videos on Facebook and on Instagram and all of those, because they're like, oh, I wouldn't do a video. I'm like, this is your learning. They're doing a testimonial for us. They'll get a free course, but they're also learning as well. So ask your customers when they're in their happiest time. So if you're a hairdresser, she's just had her hair done, ask her then, do a video then and say, do you mind, even if it's the back of her hair, you know, or will you write a testimonial? We do, you know, say the restaurants, they had I see everyone had QR codes, but I don't know how to do QR codes, but where you can do QR codes and get your reviews. Definitely get your reviews. Quality over quantity. As I said, we don't look at the numbers. We, honest to God, we know we have 91,000 on Facebook. I have 25,000, I think, on Instagram. We have 108,000 followers on TikTok, and I don't know how we got them. And that's being perfectly honest with you. People have used us as an example of our TikTok.
We've actually got a social media teacher to come into our Bloom rooms to teach our students about TikTok. And your one was using our TikTok as an example. And she said, and here we are, we haven't got a clue. We're trying to learn off you, and she was using us as an example.
And I suppose the key is what it has come across tonight is, are we nearly out of time? Yeah, okay. Is consistency, is consistently post. Reach out to local businesses. We did this all the time on live. Local businesses, particularly during COVID, would send us on stuff, we had a box of chocolates, and we gave them as we promoted them, and we gave the chocolates, they won the chocolates. Allocate your time to create content, so give yourself that time. We do Wonder Woman here at the school. We pick
I have about 10, I have a wardrobe in the school, right? There's obviously nobody else there, only me and Deirdre. And I've all the clothes all hanging up. And then I just get into an outfit, I have a bunch of flowers, I do a video, we've all these backdrops come down. People think we spend all our time on social media. No, we don't. Pull down a green black backdrop, pull down a pink one, then I'll pull down a grey one, and I use the same outfit. I change my outfit like Wonder Woman, and I do similar videos with, with the different backdrops. I change my outfit. We often could do 40, 50, again, 1 minute videos, and we have all this content. So again, you might even go into our Instagram page today, and you say, God, she's wearing 3 different outfits, but these were all videos that have all been pre-recorded.
And do post some personal stuff. The lad said about posting about the dogs.
A dog with a flower crown on it. Just
it's a viral.
I have to get this bit in. So through social media and going global and getting the overseas students, okay? Over in America, there's this, like the biggest florist in the world, okay? Sarah Campbell, Intrigue Designs. And we got an email from her last April inviting us over to a conference. And we were saying, no, that's too expensive. We'd have to cancel a course and all the rest. And she says, oh no, you took us up wrong. She says, there's a budget, all expenses paid. She jumped on the bandwagon and said, well, we have a course starting on Friday, so we need to go business class, Your once is no problem at all. So, the team was yellow, in case you're wondering why it's all yellow. So the flowers were yellow, the clothes all had to be yellow, but our branding colour is pink, so that's how we're a bit clashy there with the pink and yellow. It was the 12 top educators from around the world, including the Philippines, and little Olos from Ireland were one of the educators.
We're just finishing up now. Imposter syndrome. Today getting up here, we were shitting ourselves, okay? Feel the fear. As Carol said, just because it's not you to do it, you have to do it for your brand, you have to do it. Join a community or network. I cannot emphasize that enough. Sam obviously has something up her sleeve. I don't know what it is. If you're in any network with Sam, we've known her for probably 10 years, she will help you every step of the way. And if she doesn't, ask her, because she will help you if you ask, which is my next point. Support other businesses, even if they're your competition. Support them, because do you know what? It comes back to you centerfold. Show what you do. Don't be afraid to show what you're doing out there. Get it out there, whether it's hairdressing, whether it's flowers, whether it's jewellery making, whatever it is. Show people what you can do. And if they do copy you, they're not going to take away business from you. Don't be worried about people copying you. Connect and engage with your industry. This is what you're doing here, guys. Respond back to comments. Keep your engagement going. My thing is embrace one platform that you love the best. For us, it's Facebook, and that's where we get most of our business. And I do feel, but you'll work better on a platform that you enjoy.
Thanks a million, everyone.